This is the Thomas Fisher Rare Book Library at the University of Toronto, and we are the largest rare book library in Canada.
How many books are in the Rare Book Library?
About 900,000.
But in all of those rare books, only a tiny percentage is Indigenous produced content. What there is in the process of being reorganized and offers a rare and unique Indigenous first-hand perspective of their history.
What is special about having these materials here and accessible to people?
Yeah, so what's great about these materials is that they're really sort of subjecting the colonial narrative that all of us have sort of been taught in schools or have learned about, because it's showing a different side of Canadian history, a very important part of Canadian history, which is the Indigenous history of Canada, which of course existed long before the settlers arrived in Canada and is still a completely vibrant communities and cultures today. Here we have a book that was published in 1847 and 1848, both by Indigenous authors, writing about their own communities and their lives as Indigenous people. These were quite rare because, of course, Indigenous communities relied on oral histories. So it was quite rare for them to publish books. This here is a letter from Jane Doreen from 1894, and she's writing to the Deputy Supervisor General stating that because of Section 12 of what was then called the Indian Act, she wasn't able to hold land on a reserve. And she's asking if there's anything that can be done. And then this subsequent letter writes that her and her husband had actually been forcibly removed from the land.
Not the answer she was looking for.
Definitely not. So these are a great collection of textbooks that were actually made for a community in Nunavik, the National Inuit Association. And they're reporting on all manners of what is important to the Inuit communities in Canada.
Why would it be a great thing for people to come in and read these things?
That they learn this background and this history from the Indigenous people themselves. So all of these are Indigenous authored works. There's nothing here from the church or the government. These are their own words, and I think that's what's most important.
Well, because of COVID restrictions, the library is not fully open to the public yet. But when it is, you can come in and request to see any of these materials and read them yourself. At the Fisher Rare Book Library, Audra Brown, City News.